always watching out for you. This is KOAA News 5 Special Edition.
Good evening and welcome to this special edition of News 5 Sports. I'm Dylan Scott.
And I'm Jake Gaden. We're dedicating the next half hour to the state of sports, the topics that go beyond the field of play.
Now, as you know, the sports world was turned on its head by the coronavirus pandemic back in March, putting seasons and careers on hold for athletes at every single level.
And since then, we've seen the return of some sports, baseball, hockey, basketball, all back with no fans and in a bubble. And the NFL kicks off next week, but for our local athletes in Colorado, they won't be back on the field until next year. But there is a fight to change that. And we start with talking about what's happening right now here on a local level. Let's CO Play is a new campaign website aiming to tell stories of high school athletes who saw their sports season move to the spring. But here's the thing, they want to play right now. Currently, that campaign has over 350 followers on Twitter and is led by Mark and Helen McAllister, the parents of three-star quarterback and Palmer Ridge Bear Luke McAllister.
If they canceled it or push it out in the fall, there's chances that they'll do that again in the spring. So another element of this is, like, the data is really positive right now. Other states are doing it. Let's reverse the decision. Let's get this behind us.
But what we're trying to communicate is that we're aware of those risks and we are committed as players and families to do what's necessary to play.
Just this past week, Louisiana, Michigan, and Wichita, Kansas all reversed their decisions to postpone fall sports. For the full story on Let's CO Play, tune in Sunday night at News 5 at 10 p.m.
All right, with high school football moving to the spring semester, as you just heard, it leaves a whole lot of questions like how colleges will recruit players and just how far local athletes will go to get noticed.
A little over a week ago, the Colorado High School Athletics and Activities Association announced they would delay the high school football season due to COVID-19.
We were fighting for the opportunity to give football a season, right? Everybody isn't looking for a recruitment tape.
Then this week, Colorado, Colorado State, and Air Force all did the same thing, which leaves us with this. What's next and how do we proceed until the spring? And the biggest question, recruiting. How will it be affected? Thankfully, we got these three guys to help us out.
Recruiting-wise, it was huge.
Meet Air Academy senior linebacker Arion Burr.
I was looking forward to my senior year because this is the year where I proved that I actually can play, that junior year was not just a fluke or by luck.
A standout KDAC, Burr has over 10 Division I offers, but not one of those offers are from a Power 5 conference team. Those teams wanted to see early season film from the 2021 recruit, but COVID-19 delayed his season. Yet according to Adam Munstetiger from 247 Sports Buff Stampede, it's another recruiting class from Colorado who will see the biggest effect from this year's schedule change.
What this really hurts is the 2022s, because so much of recruiting is based off of junior evaluation.
Locally, you'd love to get kids from the Four Corners area, from Colorado, from Arizona, from Utah, New Mexico, coming into your camp so that you can see them for a day.
CU football director of recruiting Bob Lopez agrees with Munstetiger. The 2022 recruiting class will be a challenging one. Yet the Buffs will plan to take an old school approach moving forward into uncharted waters.
We've got to do what we can do for those states that are playing, for those prospects that are playing, and know that's where, like Colorado, it's just going to be, we're going to get out later.
As for Burr and his recruiting, well, he's keeping all of his options open, which includes moving to another state.
It is a possibility. I know, like, I heard one of the CHSAA rules is if you move and you come back, you can't play. But, like, if I move and come back, then, you know, who even cares? Because I'll probably just try to graduate early, commit to a school, and then just go on from there.
Now, the NCAA just announced this week that the current dead period where schools cannot speak or contact recruits has been extended until September. As for the conferences possibly playing at different times this year, well, no one knows how that will affect recruiting moving forward. Always watching out for you, Southern Colorado. Jake Gaden, News 5 Sports. During the pandemic, we've also seen local athletes dedicate their time to noble causes, not just here in Southern Colorado, but halfway across the world as well. Early this summer, a group of standout hoopers using their platform to cross over for change.
More than 8,000 miles separate Colorado Springs from the country of Uganda. But when it's a cause near and dear to your heart, no distance is too far.
It's a huge opportunity, I think, and I think all of us involved get the opportunity to build relationships with these girls and teach them and learn from them and play a sport that we all love.
Spearheaded by standout girls athletes from the Colorado Springs School, St. Mary's, and Coronado, the Crossover for Change Foundation was created earlier this year.
I've had a lot of success and I've built a lot of friendships with basketball, so just being able to share that with other people means a lot.
Its mission to foster confidence, empowerment, and leadership for young women in Uganda through the sport of basketball.
We just want to make the greatest change we can possible and really make a beneficial change in these girls' lives.
Having already raised more than $14,000 of their $26,000 goal, the money will go to helping create courts, new equipment, uniforms, and clinics for 2 local schools in dire need of an assist.
I know that the girls in Uganda that we're going to work with are going to benefit from those types of lessons through basketball.
Next summer, these talented ladies hope to make the trip to Africa to help continue to share their love of basketball.
Just that opportunity to be on the court and play with these girls is what I am most looking forward to.
One that is bringing our world a little closer together, one team and one dream at a time.
If we can get that done and help girls in Uganda to grow their confidence so that they can make the life that they want, we would love to bring it to other developing countries too and build it beyond there.
The bottom line is the players can do as they wish. Everybody can do as they wish.
All right, coming up next on our News 5 Sports Special, we're talking athletes and activism on both the national and local stage. Stay with us. A lot more to come when we come back.
The bottom line is the players can do as they wish. Everybody can do as they wish when it comes down to the anthem. The only thing that we ask is the fact that everybody respect everybody.
Ever since the beginning of the Black Lives Matter movement, the Denver Broncos have been outspoken on the racial and social injustice issues, so much that they're one of the only NFL teams to hold a peaceful protest in the city they are located in. Just this past week, after the shooting of Jacob Blake, the Broncos once again protested by not holding practice on Thursday, August 27th. For one Bronco, the shooting in Kenosha hits too close to home, as newly signed running back Melvin Gordon is from there.
It was just sad to see, man, and the fact that, you know, when you post something about it or put it out there, people are, you know, justifying their actions or justifying why it's okay to shoot someone 7 times in the back. And to me, that's just sad, man. And it's just, you know, it really hits home, especially being from, you know, where I was brought up, man. So it was just really emotional for me.
As a group, we're really challenged in things that we want to see done. You know, the conversations got as deep as like asking to see, you know, the governor and then in the state of Colorado and, you know, kind of asking him questions about the Elijah McClain case here and why the process seems to be slow, why it took so long, like, you know, asking hot seat questions, tough questions like that.
From the Broncos to the NBA bubble, the sports world has been galvanized with athletes from every background coming together to take a stand in the wake of that recent shooting of Jacob Blake.
Message will continue to be reverberated.
From the basketball courts in Orlando to the hockey rinks in Edmonton and every sports venue in between, competition has taken a backseat to bigger issues these past 2 weeks.
Just more to life than sports, and what's going on in this world is not okay. Sometimes we just need to sit back and think about those things and try to figure out changes.
For at least a game or two, players putting aside their differences to come together.
I go to war with these guys, and I hate their guts on the ice, but I couldn't be more proud of these guys.
Using their platforms to speak out about the social and racial injustices happening in our country.
It's not an easy subject. It's an awkward subject for a lot of people, and the fact that we're all here together right now, it's going to bring a lot of awareness.
The NBA, NHL, MLB, and NFL among the professional sports leagues, allowing their teams to take a unified front as they try to find a balance between activism and athletics.
it can carry it through tough parts of the game, tough parts of the season, and keep everybody pointed in the same direction.
It's not too late, and you guys can still show that you stand with us, and it's going to mean a lot if you do.
While play has resumed and the seasons press forward, the stance taken by so many will have an impact greater than any game or title won in the days to come.
You fight for something that means a whole lot more. We've been fighting this fight for a long time, and we're tired of being tired. And, you know, like I said, I go out there and I fight for something. Win or lose, I go out there and fight for something. And, you know, as the NBA, we're going to collectively keep fighting.
I'm going to do my job. I'm going to help educate our players, and I am willing to put my voice and my beliefs on the line, whether you like it or not.
Now, this conversation isn't ending anytime soon. The NFL announced they will display social justice messages in the end zones this season and will allow players to sit out Week 1 in protest if they so choose.
It means to me that a warrior, we don't stop on the football field.
Terms are too loaded to really be able to justify.
Coming up in our News 5 Sports Special, tackling another controversial issue about race, Native American mascots in sports. We head to our local schools for our Defining Pride series. That's next. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Thanks for sticking with us on this special edition of News 5 Sports. This year we saw an end to a decades-long controversy over the name of the NFL team in Washington, D.C. For 87 years, they were known as the Redskins, and now they've retired both the name and the Native American logo.
Thanks, Jake. It has reopened a national conversation about the use of Native American culture, including right here in Colorado, where schools proudly use names like Redskins, Indians, and Savages. We went out to those schools to see exactly how they define pride. Driving into Lamar, you can immediately sense there is big pride in this small town of around 8,000.
I grew up with Savages, my whole entire family.
Savage pride.
Whenever Savages comes to mind, it means to me that a warrior, we don't stop on the football field. We've just been pushing through it, fighting all the way till the end.
4 years ago, the state commissioned an American Indian representation study and recommended Lamar eliminate its mascot and any derogatory names or images. But most people in the southeastern Colorado town say their famed nickname is anything but offensive.
Made me like proud, happy with the Savages. When I go like somewhere else and I have my mascot with Savages on it, and it make me happy about it and proud of it being a Savage.
The Savage nickname dates back to at least 1910, and some believe in light of recent events, it's time for this town to make a change.
I understand that it's definitely a symbol of our local community, but I can also see the ramifications of behind somebody wanting to create change and how it can be potentially, and really I believe is pretty harmful to Indigenous people.
A group called Lamar Proud brought a petition of more than 1,000 signatures, some from the Native American community, to a Lamar school board meeting last month with the intentions to change the name.
Those terms are too loaded to really be able to justify.
But on a loaded docket, which included safety for the new school year during a pandemic and the search for a new superintendent, the petition was not a priority for board members, and the discussion was tabled.
I'd say 50% of community residents are really for that maintaining of the Savage Pride symbol, and the other half are ready for change.
As the national discussion continues on affecting change in U.S. sports from the pros to the preps, some wonder if the prideful town of Lamar will reflect deeper on their small part of the bigger conversation.
If you really want to somehow engage with the history and continued presence of Native peoples in the region and have that be a proud part of your school culture, there needs to be more conversation, there needs to be more consideration of how that can actually be done.
Thanks to photojournalist Carl Winder for his help with these stories. For part 2 of our Defining Pride series, we head down the scenic highway of legends to the town of La Vida, where their small school has a mascot garnering big-time attention. Nestled right at the foothills of the Spanish Peaks, La Vida is a prideful town of around 800, with a busy main street in the warmer months.
I've lived here almost all my life completely, but it's a great place to be. A lot of people come around.
The locals also take pride in their high school mascot, the Redskins.
Being Native American, it means a lot to me. That, you know, I think it's respect.
A name that has brought plenty of attention locally and nationally through the years.
They changed it in the 40s or early 50s, I believe, and everybody just liked it.
But that conversation intensified this year.
Been talked about a lot in town.
When the NFL's Washington franchise dropped their highly debated nickname.
It probably brought the issue up for some people that hadn't considered it.
It even led to La Vida Mayor Douglas Burgash speaking out against the name, calling it racist in an article published by the Huérfano World Journal.
It feels like this is a really important moment to take the momentum of that huge change to deal with the Native American mascot issue more broadly.
News 5 has reached out to members of the La Vida School District and School Board multiple times and received a no comment. However, the district is in the process of building new football and basketball venues, and we've learned that only La Vida will be displayed, indicating that the town could be on its way to cutting ties with a controversial nickname that dates back to the 1950s.
I guess you have to look at why they're doing that. And right now I believe that with the new school going in and everything, I believe that they better take into consideration of changing it.
With fall right around the corner, tourism season is coming to an end in La Vida. Many feeling the winds of change are beginning to blow through this scenic highway of legends.
Used to be only a year or so ago, you would see all of the windows of the shops in this town painted, you know, for every event at the high school featuring the Redskins and so forth.
Now a bit closer to home, another school is facing calls to change its mascot. Are organizing an effort to remove the high school's Indians mascot. Several Cheyenne Mountain High School alums joined together to start the group Not Our Mascot, calling for the district to change the mascot. Dozens of alumni and students spoke out in favor of removing the mascot at Monday's school board meeting, with only one person speaking out in favor of it.
In high school, I don't think any of us really had a problem with it, but we're all adults now, and obviously times are changing.
In a response, the board will consider voting on the matter as soon as this November. We'll have more on this story in the coming weeks. Coming up next in your special edition of News 5 Sports, what did everyone do when they were forced home due to COVID-19? Well, you know, some of you got it on video. It's our Stick to Sports segment. We break down the top 5 of the at-home trick shot sports videos next. Stay with us. Welcome back. When the pandemic hit, athletes all around the world were forced into their homes, unable to play their sports.
That's right, Jake, but in the human spirit, athletes, they always find a way to practice, get better. Here at News 5, we asked you, the viewer, to send in your best videos, home trick shots, sports videos, in a segment we like to call Stick to Sports, Jake.
So with that, let's check out the top 5 of those sports highlights. Number 5, we start in Woodland Park. Back in April, we have 7-year-old Aspen and 12-year-old Baker, or 12-month-old Baker, enjoying the spring snow we got while sheltering in place. But let's be honest here. Look at those guys. That bad boy showing he can go down, and if it wasn't that good, look at that. That kid. Oh, come on. No one how to do it. She's going to stick the landing off the picnic table. That's how a 10 out of 10 works, Dylan. And that is a Stick to Sports segment if you've ever seen one.
All right, number 4, keeping it with the snow theme, we head to Manitou Springs. It is Turner D'Amato practicing for baseball season in the snow. Talk about dedication. If you watch the video, Turner almost takes out Dad. Watch out with this big swing of his own. A future Mustang star, Jake, in the making.
Yeah, number 3, we head to our final submission in May with 12-year-old Race from Rock Rimmon, as this soccer star has 2 trick shot videos. The first is Race in his basement, showing off some serious juggling skills, like, bro, up and under the leg. That's pure skill. And then in the second video, we find out why Race was really juggling stuff. I've realized he may or may not like stolen all the toilet paper because I couldn't find any for like a week and a half. That's just saying some pure skill during the pandemic.
All right, for number 2, we got a trifecta of trick shots into a basketball hoop. We start with 14-year-old Cassidy from Black Forest. Talk about a trick shot. Cassidy able to kick a soccer ball off a backboard and in. But Cassidy not the only one who got good at that. Lexi from Manitou Springs also with the kick off the backboard. And this one going in as well. How do you learn this stuff?
I know, her reaction though is the best after that. Look at that happy jump right there.
Skills, but the most impressive one is this one. Pine Creek senior Cameron Horton throwing a football from the other side of the street, hits the shot. Pretty good aim, but if you ask me, all three pretty solid in Pine Creek. They know how to throw a football, Jake.
Yeah, absolutely. And our best submission of Stick to Sports is another former Eagle from Pine Creek. It's Peter and his dad hitting a chip shot onto a billiards table into a martini glass. Bartender, can I have another? Because cheers to you, Peter. That is a pretty impressive spot.
All right, Jake. Well, you still got a 10 o'clock show tonight, and luckily there's some sports for it.
Yeah, coming up tonight at 10, we got Nuggets going in Game 2. Can they even the season up? The Switchbacks also looking for their first win in the restarted USL season.
All right, good stuff to watch. Excited about the high school sports as well. Thanks for watching this special edition of News 5 Sports, the state of sports in Colorado.
Jake? Yeah, I'm Jake.
That's you.
You're Dylan Scott, right?
That's it.
All right, we'll see you after this.
Take care, guys.